That's what you
Oh,
did?
So quickly.
Oh,
You
I
didn't
wouldn't
eat-
tell her that.
You didn't eat what she gave you?
No, she didn't.
Oh.
She's out of town, so she didn't make me anything.
Oh.
So
Oh, I thought you were saying she did before she went out. I was like, oh,
no,
that's
no,
so
no.
sweet.
She usually does.
Well, you got a good woman.
I do.
Ugh. All right, you guys let me know whenever you're ready. Are we waiting for Liz?
I don't know how-
No,
I don't know how I feel about that angle.
I don't
think it's a
either.
good side.
Why don't we pull it a little more where it's in front of him, where it gets his face, where you can actually see his lips moving versus just his side of his ear, or we care?
Because what if I do this and then you
Well-
How do you get this
you don't
one
know
down?
if it's voiceover.
If
or-
it's
How
not,
does it go down? How does it go down? It's up really high. It's not,
yeah, press that.
I'm doing it. It's nothing happening. This one's made. This one's broken. No, that's not the same height. Whatever. I'll just do this one. Hello. Are you rolling?
We are, but we haven't started yet.
Yeah.
So
All right. Before you get started, of course, I've got based on him saying it's all the questions, all about the questions, all about the questions. I've got probably a ton of questions that you're not going to have in your fact pattern.
okay.
And so if I ask you a bunch of questions that aren't in your fact pattern, just doing what he said. So, and I realized that our fact patterns we got this year are much briefer than what we got last year. So, you know, and of course, if I'd asked anything that's not in that I don't ask, Phil, is your fact pattern? Feel free to volunteer.
Yeah, of course.
Well, all right. Are we ready? Are we recording?
Yes,
We are recording.
we're recording.
Oh, so we got all that.
I've been for a minute and 28 seconds.
Okay, so we got all that on there. All right. Do we need to do the formality of this is deposition of blah 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 and da da? You want to
You've already been sworn. We appreciate your honesty.
And you know who we are, and we know who you are, and he is, and who represents who, and who's the good guy and the bad guys, which are everybody's, nobody's bad guys on this. All right. Please state your name for the record.
Alex Lewis.
And Alex, is it okay if I call you Alex?
Of course.
What's your position with TBB?
I'm the CEO.
All right. And how long have
Chief
you?
Executive Officer.
All right. And how long have you been with TBB?
I founded Texas Big Guitar Strings in several years ago, back in Austin, back in the 90s, actually.
And I take it since you're the founder that you actually have been the CEO the entire time.
I have.
All right. And then do you have other executives or officers within TBB that are responsible for any part of TBB?
As a business my size, I would assume that I have some other executive officers, but I don't have them named at this time.
And you said you were currently located in Nashville.
I am.
And how long have you been located in Nashville?
I moved my business and my employees and our operation to Nashville a few years ago.
Okay. And so you brought the entire operation here, not just yourself?
I did. It was more than just myself.
And where was your previous location?
I was previously in Austin, Texas.
Now that would be a rather large move to move the entire company as well as employees to the Nashville area. What was your leading decision to relocate and move to Nashville?
Well, I saw a shift in the market. I had previously worked in some of the Americana music area, and that scene was growing in Nashville, and so I saw an opportunity there for growth with the connections and business associates that I had to expand here in Nashville.
And you mentioned
Americana.
Americana. Is there a large following or part of that here in Nashville in the area?
Yeah, there is.
And would the strings for that be different from, say, rock and roll or from country? Or
No, I mean, they're all guitar strings.
Okay, so
but that was just kind of a market that I was looking to get to expand my business in.
okay. And then with the customers that you had previously in Austin, do you still service them, or did you give those clients up?
Yeah, I still maintain those clients.
So you ship to them, or do you have locations in both areas?
I distribute from Nashville.
Okay. Have you ever previously sold strings to Mellow G?
I had not.
Okay. And then what led you to believe that Mellow G was interested in purchasing strings with TBB?
Well, like I said, I moved to Nashville and was just doing market research, talking with people, and just like any business that was growing, I was contacting companies that were, people that I could see doing business with, and Mellow G was one of those companies. They make a pretty good guitar, so I wanted to buy their strings.
And so you initiated the contact with Mellow G?
I did.
Okay. And then who were you in communications with at Mellow G regarding the sale of the strings?
Sure. I was working with Ryan Williams, who was their I can't remember his position title, but Ryan Williams.
Okay. And you said that you were communicating with Ryan Williams. Was he the decision maker at Melody on whether or not they would purchase strings from TBB?
That was my understanding, and we had, in negotiations, he had held himself out to be as such.
Okay. And did he make any indication that there was anyone else that would be involved in that decision?
No.
Did he ever mention in your communications about having to consult with anyone else or contact anyone else or getting anyone else's opinion on possibly purchasing?
No, he led me to believe, and that's why I really felt like we had a contract, that for all intents and purposes, we did have a contract.
Okay. Were there any additional employees or officers at Melody that were involved in your communications regarding the possible sale?
Yeah, I had copied Mitch Glenn on some of the emails.
Now, you copied Mitch Glenn was originally who you were communicating with. Oh, Mitch Glenn. I'm sorry. Yes. Now, what's Mitch Glenn's position with the company?
I think he is. I can't remember his official title.
What was it? You that initially included Mitch on the emails, or did Ryan, when he responded back, did he include Mitch on those emails?
I can't remember, but I just remember that he was on there.
And is it customary in the string or guitar or Americana music or guitar production? Is it customary for someone who is not an officer to be involved in those sort of emails, in those communications?
Well, I don't think that's a music business differentiation. So I guess that depends on each company how they're set up.
Did you communicate with anyone within TBB, Texas Big Bender, regarding the possible sale of strings to Melody?
No, it was just myself.
Okay. Did you communicate to anyone outside of Texas Big Bender regarding the possible sale of strings to Melody?
Do you mean did I communicate with anyone other than
Mitch and
at Melody? So was there any third parties? Is that what you're asking?
Anybody outside of TBB or outside of Melody? Like, did you discuss it personally with someone? Did you have a beer or discuss it with your wife or your children or your parents? Did you have any discussion with anyone outside either of those two companies?
Not in any professional situations, no.
Okay. Did you maybe mention that you were trying to get business from Melody's business during social settings? Maybe anything like that?
I mean, I can't recall specifically.
Do you have the copies? What was your primary form of communication with Ryan Williams?
Email.
Okay. And then do you have copies of those emails between yourself and Mitch Glenn?
I believe there are some.
Okay.
I don't have them here. I don't know how many there are.
Okay. And we will need to get copies of those because that's part of what the discovery was, requesting those. We talked to him about doing subpoena ducus tecum. I actually have you guys bring those here, but he said not to worry about it. We could just get them from y'all through either depositions or through the
Talk
request.
to the other three
Okay,
because I'm not involved in that
Okay.
part. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Yeah, so we'll need to get those part of the discovery process for sure. Approximately how many emails back and forth between yourself and Mitch were there?
Well, my emails were with Ryan.
I'm sorry. I put Mitch down for some reason. I was thinking
there's no way I could say how many emails there were.
Does TBB have a handbook, and if so, do you have access to it?
A handbook regarding.
Just a policy handbook for the company, employee handbook, anything like that with Texas Big Bender?
We may, but I don't have it.
Does Texas Big Bender have a policy regarding accessing company email off-site?
No, we don't.
Does TBB have a policy regarding changing email passwords for employees?
No.
Okay, I'll skip those because I'll just assume that you have nothing information on policy. Okay, I'll just skip those. And do you have email passwords for anyone else within TBB or anyone else in your personal life that you have their email passwords? For example, your wife, your parents, and like that. I'm sure it's not in there.
No, I don't have that.
So the next question was going to be, have you ever accessed any of those accounts for any reasons? But does TBB have a disclaimer on company emails? Does your company?
Yes.
Yes.
And does this disclaimer populate automatically every time you send an email from TVB?
Yes, I believe it does.
Is the disclaimer automatically populated in replies, emails from TVB? For example, if someone emails you and then you reply back, does it populate each and every time, or is it only on the original email?
I believe it does populate each time.
And then do you have the language of, I guess it's going to be contained in the emails that you send us? That would be perfect. Does this disclaimer also populate off-site when emails are sent? Example would be remote access or cell phone emails, things like that.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure at this time.
We'll refer to the discovery for that. What quantity of strings were you in discussion with Melody about purchasing?
We had been talking about providing them with enough strings to fulfill their needs.
Okay. And did you have any specific quantities on that?
I don't.
How far in the discussion process were you with in Melody?
We were far enough along that it was my understanding that we had all but inked a deal. It was my understanding as a businessman that we had a deal. It just hadn't been put into writing. So I had made some business decisions based on my communications with Mr. Williams.
Did you ever agree on a specific price per unit on your strings to Melody?
We yes, we discussed $4 per set.
And would it be one standard type of string that they would purchase from you, or were there different types of strings, or was it just this one string at $4?
It was just going to be the model that they put on all their guitars. So it was the same set for all their production line models.
Did you send a proposal to a formal proposal to Melody?
I don't know if at any point it was a formal proposal, but we had discussions that contained all the terms.
And then what were the details of those terms that you had sent over to Melody?
I don't have those right now. They'll have to be provided in further discovery.
And through those communications, was there any discussion of you being the exclusive supplier of strings to Melody?
I don't have anything that led me to believe that it was an exclusive contract.
Is it customary or typical in your industry for someone to be an exclusive provider or seller to someone?
I don't know how that works for other companies.
Did Ryan Williams with Melody ever officially accept your proposal in whole or in part?
It was my understanding from our communications that he had accepted.
And then with the communications that we're going to get through further discovery, will that give us a kind of a timeline of things as they went on? Or do I need to ask questions about timeline as far as them? Because without having that discovery, it kind of makes it hard for me to know about going and asking another 15 or 20 questions on timeline. If it's in the emails, there's no sense in me doing that.
I don't know that he's going to have anything in timeline that can help you except for that.
In late October and early November 2015, Ryan and Williams and I we did begin phone and email discussions. So I answered you before that it was primarily email, and it was primarily email, but it wasn't exclusively email.
Do you have an idea of what that ratio would have been as far as in phone versus?
No, I don't. So that was late October and early November, and by the second week of November 2015, that's when I'd come to the conclusion that it was all but finalized, that we'd reached a deal, and then that's when I had, at that point, the second week of November, we'd reached that point, and then I received a call from can we go off the record for a second?
Yes. You want me to stop that or?
No, I mean,
Okay.
This says this name, but I think it was a copy and paste.